We have just seen one of the most serious blows to the global financial system, which was established as a result of first the Bretton Woods Conference, and then the Jamaican one. The People's Bank of China has just actually laid the foundation for a new financial system. It can be called Bretton Woods 2.0. It happened unexpectedly and without too much noise. No one expected such a turn, and even fewer people noticed it. The People's Bank of China has announced the full integration of the digital yuan into the international settlement system of all 10 countries of Action. Let me remind you that Action is an association of states in Southeast Asia. Interestingly, this is happening against the backdrop of a major Action summit in Malaysia. At the summit, the Association of Southeast Asia should develop a plan for strategic cooperation between the countries of the region. Until the 2045 year, Action sets itself 4 key tasks. The first one is a blow to the dollar hegemony and bypassing SWIFT. The second is the accelerated introduction of digital currencies for cross-border payments, which may lead to the emergence of a single regional mechanism for exchanging digital currencies in the region. The third is technological independence from the United States and other Western countries. And fourth, and most importantly, the creation of a new economic center of gravity, which should shift the center of the global economy from the Atlantic to the Pacific region. But that's not all. 6 more countries from another region, the Middle East, have joined this new digital infrastructure. And now attention. This means that over 38% of world trade can now bypass the SWIFT system, which, as we know, is based on the US dollar. In fact, this is a signal the era of digital currencies continues to gain momentum, and the dollar is gradually losing its monopoly in world trade. If you think that talking about digitalization is supposedly something anti-American, I want you to read an article from the Americans themselves from the Financial Times. And it talks about how US foreign policy itself is pushing other countries to digitalize. Moreover, because of it, the United States itself has the same need. US foreign policy is pushing other countries to digitalize, especially to develop an alternative to the dollar, for several key reasons that become obvious if you read this article. We do not forget about the One Belt, One Road project, which China has been promoting for many years. It's not just infrastructure. It is a tool of economic and political strategy, and now it will work in conjunction with the digital yuan. The task is simple: to stimulate trade, expand investment cooperation, and, in the future, even build joint solutions on the basis of this in matters of security and sustainable peace. The People's Bank of China pursues 2 key goals through this initiative. Firstly, he wants to strengthen the financial connectivity of global markets by creating alternative payment channels that do not depend on the purely political will of Western powers or other centers of power. And secondly, such integration will strengthen the use of the Chinese currency, the yuan, and if we talk in more detail, the digital yuan. And this may lead to the fact that many countries will gradually move away from the dollar because its floating exchange rate creates additional costs for international transactions, which these countries have to pay out of their own pockets. And this is even without taking into account the accompanying geopolitical problems, such as Western coercive measures, in the form of sanctions or trade restrictions, or, for example, Donald Trump's global tariff war. According to the first results, the new digital platform has reduced the transaction calculation time to just 7 seconds, whereas the SWIFT system spends from 3 to 5 banking days on this. In the first test, which was conducted between Hong Kong and Abu Dhabi, the company actually made a payment to a supplier in the Middle East using the digital yuan. And the money did not go through 6 different intermediary banks, as it happens under the SWIFT system. They were obtained in real time via the blockchain. And, of course, transaction processing fees have plummeted, since these 6 intermediaries simply do not exist. According to the reports, commissions have fallen by 98%. Integration of the digital yuan with the settlement system of the Action countries. This is a key step in the development of regional financial systems in the global process of de-dollarization. For China, this is a geostrategic victory. It is already a leading force in the region. But now its influence and position will strengthen even more. And what is important, the easier and cheaper it is for countries to use the digital yuan, the more demand for it will grow. Simplifying access to this new system will also affect demand growth over time. The People's Bank of China began actively developing the digital infrastructure of the yuan more than a year ago. This step has been brewing for a long time and was not a surprise for knowledgeable people. China has been systematically moving towards economic sovereignty and reducing dependence on, to put it mildly, unstable partners. Almost everyone agrees that the Western partner in the form of Trump is unstable. From the European allies of the United States to the Chinese rival in Asia. Europe is already negotiating with China and other Asian countries, and Australia, for example, offers China to replace some American goods that are subject to tariffs. So it's absolutely not surprising that China has launched this system right now. Now this is more than relevant. Also, there are already pilot free trade zones in China, where payments in digital yuan will be implemented, in order to further stimulate trade between these countries. No tariffs, everything will be free. Thus, switching the focus to action countries, rather than Western counterparties, is an excellent step by China, which will further strengthen its role as a regional force. Trade between China and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations has shown significant growth over the past decades, is the recent decision of the People's Bank of China to launch a new platform for international settlements in digital yuan related to the rise in gold prices. No, it's not related. And that's why the US dollar has not been backed by gold for a long time. The decline in demand for the US dollar will occur over time, of course, but this does not mean that it will be automatically replaced by gold. So this step by China indicates that a new process is beginning in the world, what is called currency multipolarity.